Okay. Number 5, okay, we're on the fifth element already for the organizational structure, is the span of control. So, kanina we're talking about authority, right? Yung empowerment, power to act. Now, sa span of control is somehow related to that because this refers to the number of individuals who are directly responsible to a particular manager or a person of authority. Kunwari, okay, define muna natin siya. Second bullet here, it's also termed as a definable limit because there's a limit to the number of people that can be supervised by one person. Okay? May term dito na effectively supervised. Okay? Again, span of control is the number of people who can be directly responsible to one manager, or it is the limit of people who can be effectively supervised by one person. So let's see an example. Okay, kunwari here on the left muna. Look at this given figure. So we have here a director, and under that director, we have certain managers. So can you guess ano yung span of control of this director? What is the span of control of this director? It's a number. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to try and figure that out. Okay, director. This director has, okay, okay, 3 yung span of control niya. Because why? It's defined as the number of individuals responsible to this person. So, meron siyang 1, 2, 3 people na sinusupervise. Okay, directly supervise. 1, 2, 3. What about here on the right? Ano ang span of control of this one manager? Ilan yung span of control niya? Okay, I hope nakuha. It's 7. Okay, 7 yung span of control niya. And then may term kanina na effectively supervise. Because imagine, if you're one manager and you are supervising 100 people, okay, sige, you can say na you're supervising them, but I don't think it's effective already. Hindi mo na sila matututukan, or you're probably gonna miss out on mistakes nila. Okay? Alright. So, kaya sinabi may definable limit. Alright. Yan pala. May sagot. Okay. So, here we have unity of command. So, sa unity of command, this is the process of ensuring that yung parang yung kanina, every individual would have to report to clearly would report to one supervisor. Na hindi sila malilito, sino ba talaga yung supervisor natin? Si person A or si person B? Kunwari, here, it's clear dapat to assistant managers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 na ito yung supervisor nila. They only have one manager. And manager 1, manager 2, manager 3 here should clearly know that they should report only to this director. Okay, so that is unity of command. Unity of command, each individual reports to one supervisor only. Okay, clear ba yon? Huwag magpapalito sa tatlong to. Kay authority, okay, kay span of control, which is a number, kay unity, asan na yun? Kay unity of command. Okay? Alright, if you have questions, please message me. Number 7, okay, this is quite interesting. It's the exception principle. So, because here, as an employee na meron supervisor who is higher than you can sometimes perform tasks without having to check in with them to tell them every little detail about it. And that is the exception principle. Okay? Without having to tell them, oh, boss, ginawa ko po to, tapos nireport ko to, tapos chinek ko to, inanalyze ko, tapos tinignan ko pa yung history niya. So, sometimes there are tasks na hindi na kailangan for that. So, limited lang yung supervision in certain areas of the work. Okay? Number 8 is decentralization. So here, this is the process of assigning the the decision making process to certain people who actually perform the job. So usually, di ba, we have yung supervisor, then we have 8 people or a few people under that person, and usually we go to that boss, okay, ano pong gagawin natin? What do we do? Tell us kung ano po yung instructions. In that case, kung ganun yung situation mo, it's actually referring to this figure, okay? Because that figure would be for centralization. Kasi pag sinabing centralization, you're having like one brain and this person, like this one, okay, like one brain from whom all of the commands originate. So like this one sa gitna, parang siya yung brain, sa kanya nanggagaling yung um, decision for these 5 people. Siya yung nagde-decide for them. But if we're talking about decentralization, kaya may word D sa simula, so inaalis natin yung central part, wala yung brain sa gitna. Okay, kaya walang laman dito, right? Because here, like these 5 people, they perform the job themselves, and therefore sila yung parang may accountability to also decide, kasi it's their task. They should know what they're doing and they should know how to navigate from there. Okay, so that's decentralization, this figure, okay? Decentralization. Next, number, okay, may nakasulat pala ulit. Number 9, that's formalization. And see, formalization, from the word formal, okay, we're being a little more strict. So this is the degree to which there should be standardized rules, standardized procedures that govern every staff in a company. So lahat ng gagawin nila, lahat ng um, choices nila, lahat ng, kumbaga, galaw nila should be in line with the rules of the company. So this is also defined as the degree to which every job is standardized within the organization. Okay? So formalization, may kinalaman sa rules, procedures, policies, and standardized lahat ng job. So meaning, yung job na to, ito na siya. Hindi mo siya pwedeng baliin, hindi pwedeng, oh, I'll take this job, pero I don't want to do task B and task C. Gusto ko task A lang. Hindi pwede because nakasulat na yon, and that job has been laid out since the foundation of the company. So let's differentiate lang, because some are medyo nalilito sa formalization, okay, versus specialization. So if you remember, the first element na binanggit ko kanina is specialization, work specialization. And review natin siya, it refers to the degree in which activities are divided, right? There's division of labor, there's a specific job for this person, tas iba yung job ng isa. That's specialization, right? Focuses on division of labor. What about C, formalization? So again, jobs are structured, jobs are standardized within your company, and it focuses on the following. Meron naka-designate na rule, designate na policy, and procedure that governs your task or governs your job. Okay? So, ayun, if you're looking into the formalization of a company, kumbaga, lahat ng empleyado, kailangan nila sumunod dun sa naka-establish na rules. Okay, so kunwari something goes wrong. Ano ba yung policy natin? Okay, sundan natin. So lahat iisa yung direction. Walang maliligaw because there is a standard process. So specialization naman, okay, parang imagine if in the general context, kung the entire job would be to create a dress, kunyari kailangan natin gumawa ng dress, kailangan natin gumawa ng clothing. If one person will do the entire job, pwede naman, pero baka matagal. But if you're going to divide the labor, like one will sew the buttons, one will cut up the tela, one will prepare ano ba yun, yung sinulid, ganon. So, division of labor gets the job done, and everyone gets to do their part at napapabilis yung work. Same with the laboratory, kumbaga, kahit one medtech lang, of course, you're gonna be trained muna, pero you should be able to do the tasks na nasa clinical microscopy, clinical chemistry, phlebotomy, and microbiology, blood banking, lahat yon kasi pinag-aralan mo sila. But if you're gonna be just one person rotating in how many sections of the lab for one whole day, medyo matagal. Magpa-pile up yung samples, hindi agad ma-release yung results. So having a good division of labor helps that to be more efficient and of course overall effective. Okay, so yun yung difference between the two. So number 10, last element na pala tayo is delegation. So with delegation, I think I've said this before, that there is great power in delegation because it is literally passing on to someone else the job, the responsibility of finishing the job, and the authority as well. A great example is to your class presidents. Whenever I return activities or I return your papers, I delegate to the president the responsibility of distributing it. At the same time, I give him or her the authority to do that. So, accountability doon, kunwari may nawalang paper, I delegated the task to you, nasan yung paper niya, ganon. So, on the other hand, authority then because siya yung may ganong right to distribute and to hold the batch of assessments. So anyway, we have here three factors to consider whenever you want to delegate a task. Kasi kunwari, I am a laboratory manager. Before I delegate an important task to a staff of mine, I have to consider muna, number one, ano yung ability ng employee na to? Okay, pag pinag-usapan natin renewal ng laboratory, pwede ko bang ipagkatiwala sa kanya first day niya pa lang? Okay, ability of the employee must be checked. Second is nature ng task. So if I'm gonna give someone else, supposedly job ko, would it be too hard for that person? Or ako lang ba yung may kayang gumawa ng task na yon? So you have to consider that. And lastly, the time. If you're gonna give someone um, an assignment to do or a task to do, kailan ba yung submission or kailan ba yung deadline. It should be enough, no, for them to accomplish that. Right? And those are the 10 elements of the organizational structure. Next, we have types of organization. If you remember, we already discussed this. Ano nga ba yung two types of organization natin? Discussed during topic 2, Introduction to Management. Okay, we have formal and informal. Okay. So, si formal, defined siya as officially, no, ito na naman yung term na formal. So, it's officially sanctioned lines of authority assigned by the organization. So, you know yung hierarchy, okay? Sino yung top management, sino yung middle manager, first line supervisor, and etc. It's an officially created and sanctioned authority. What about informal organizations? So these are more of alliances na naturally nangyari because nag-interact yung mga people within the organization, they found allegiance, they found common interests, and they bonded over that. So now, merong informal organization like within the overall formal bureaucracy. Okay, so diba we have this um, formal way of assigning a department. Ganito ka, dito ka sa manager na to. But you can somehow ano ba yun, bond or understand each other and get to know each other even though magkakaiba kayong department. And that is where informal organizations form within the formal setup. Okay? So on this slide, it further divides or differentiates formal from informal with the following list of traits. For example, let's see ano yung group traits ng leaders within a formal organization. They're usually the ones appointed. Okay, so talagang binigyan ng assignment ng let's say ng higher up, appointed ka as middle manager in the formal setup. Pero kapag informal organizations, you are somehow voted as the leader because of your charisma. Right? So they believe you have a charismatic feature. So parang ikaw yung leader ng little friend group niyo or something. Next, we have followers. So the ones naman that would be the followers ng leaders sa formal setup, it usually happens through recruitment incentives. Okay, so recruitment incentives, baka um, merong reason or may kapalit while you would have to follow this particular leader. But in an informal organization, it's usually you are drawn to the person or you follow them because well, I can't think of anything except a biblical example like followers of Jesus, because personally you see him as the Messiah, as the Savior, as a good teacher. So you are drawn to his character. So you would follow him naturally. Next, purpose of a formal organization, it's to achieve the company's goals. Hindi tayo gagawa ng formal organization just so just because we want to. We want to have this structure so that we could achieve the goals in the time na gusto natin. And next, purpose naman ng informal organization, more of peer motives lang. Like they wanted to have this little group, this little structure based on their own liking or decision. Next, shared opinion. Ano yung opinion nila on how to operate, how to do things. Kapag formal, of course, it has to be in line with the organization. Hindi pwedeng basta-basta. If you're gonna do something, kailangan, is it for the good of the company? Is it gonna benefit our company? Kasi formal tayo eh. Pero kapag informal, yung opinions nyo varies. It's sometimes the social norms, sometimes iba yung opinion um, ng kinalakihan ng taong to, and iba yung sa kanya. Okay? Next, when it comes to performance and commitment sa work, of course, sa formal organization, kailangan on the job. Okay? You perform your job on time and you achieve the tasks as given to you. But sa informal organization, performance and commitments could be issue focused. It could be depending on kung ano yung currently ano ba pinag-uusapan nila or ano yung interest nila at the moment. And lastly, sanctions sa isang formal organization. There are two kinds. You can be, of course, punished by violating some protocols, but you can also gain rewards if you're doing well, like yung mga employee of the month, bonuses, no? And lastly, sa informal organization, I guess it's more of peer pressure, okay? Parang ganun yung sanction nila. Yung mga, sometimes we have truth or dares, even in the workplace. That's, of course, professional and academic, okay? Alright, so on to the very last part of our discussion, we have the organizational chart. So ito, in your group requirement in the end of the semester, together with your digital laboratory, you're going to create as a group your organizational chart. Okay, so for now, discuss muna natin siya. So this is so-called a visual representation. So visually, it shows you the organization describing the following parts. So the structure is seen there, yung mula pang kanina natin pinag-uusapan, the structure is seen. Okay, the relationships is also mentioned or shown. The levels of authority are clear. You should see sino yung top level, middle, and then um, lower management. And also, pwede rin mapakita yung responsibilities of each person in the institution, and the activities na ginagawa nila can also be shown. So other ways to define an organizational chart, it's a formal written map of the structural plan, and even delegation of authority. Ano pa? A chart, an organizational chart, shows the relationship of the members from each other. You would see, ito, boss niya to because nandun siya sa taas niya sa chart. Okay? You could also see how they interact with one another. Alright. So let's see the different parts of the organizational chart. So dito we have this example. So itong orange, this is the owner and president. And then we have here accounting manager, marketing, operations, HR, and so on. So the first part of the chart is this. So yung mga nakikita niyong square, rectangular parts are actually called blocks. So those blocks are represented by the rounded rectangles. Wait, delete natin. Okay, yeah. So those rounded rectangular things are the blocks, and they show the position in the organization. Like ito, position niya is president, position nito is sales staff, and all of that. Apart from that, it can also tell you the department or the division of the organization. So dito, iba-iba din silang kulay so that clearly tells us the division. Okay? Next, we have this, and this is called a horizontal line, as you can see. And this horizontal line, how many horizontal lines can you see? I see 1, 2, and 3. So those horizontal lines represent the span of control. Do you remember the span of control? It's the number, right? So ang question dito na nasasagot is, how many blocks? For example, ito, how many blocks does this horizontal line cover? So let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, apat ang span of control ni owner or president. Okay? Next, if may horizontal line, meron ding vertical line. And this vertical line, like these, indicates authority. So, dito, the question is, who is above whom or who is below whom? Like the operations manager is directly above your copier's supervisor. Okay, so indicates authority. All right, apart from those, we have one more part of the chart, and that is a broken or dotted line. So ito, iba yung example niya because not every chart has a broken line. So some charts are visible, some are not. So dito, these lines na broken or dotted actually signify communication. They are channels of communication in that company. For example, here, this executive medical director, Dr. Bob Coupland, can communicate with the head of pathology and lab medicine. Okay? Because meron silang broken lines. At the same time, both of them converge here, meaning they can also communicate with the health authority, vice president, etc. Okay? Alright. So lastly, we have types of organizational chart. We have two. We have a traditional one and an alternative one. So traditional subcategories, meron daw tall and merong flat. So si tall traditional chart has many layers. So para siyang pa-lengthwise, tall siya. But si flat, few layers. So hindi siya masyadong pa-lengthwise, but perhaps medyo pa-crosswise. Flat, okay, and then tall. The alternative naman, it's different wherein it shows interdependence within the organization members. So let's see examples. So here, which do you think is a tall and a flat one? Okay, I hope it's obvious. This is the tall, and this is the flat traditional chart. Okay? So, ayan, si traditional, siya yung medyo composed of blocks. Remember the blocks or the rounded rectangles? Siya rin yung may horizontal lines and your vertical lines. Next, ayan. Si alternative blocks appear here as circles. Halos circles sila. May mga circle. And remember, they show interdependence. So, yan, interdependent yung mga components niya. And they are arranged in that fashion. Okay? Alright, so we've come to the end of our discussion. Thank you for listening. We have here a quote by A. Milne, and he or she said that organizing is what you do before you actually do something, so that when you do it, it's not all mixed up. So, in everything you do, as you study for your midterm soon, I hope you try to organize your thoughts, your to do lists, para hindi kayo ma-overwhelm or hindi magulo yung um, brain space niya. Okay? Good luck and God bless.